Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. Today we are here with Liam Katz. How are you doing, Liam?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I go to the same school as Matt, and we're in ninth grade. I have Miss Stern as my science teacher. She's the best teacher ever, and I like to do stand-up comedy. So
Yeah. So the first topic I think we want to talk about is the NBA postponing the season. I'd like to get your opinion on that and how long the hiatus might last, in your opinion.
I don't know how long it'll last.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's unpredictable. You don't know. No one really knows what's going on right now, and I don't know. It could last a couple months. It might all go away, and they might still not reopen it just because they want to get some extra cleaning done and make sure it's gone.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's multiple players in the league that have had it. So I think it'll be interesting to see how long it'll last. And I don't think it'll be the 30 days that Adam Silver predicted earlier, but we'll see. So, yeah, what do you think about the Tom Brady news?
I was a little shocked when I heard it because it's just different. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard Tom Brady. He's been on the team since I was born, so it just sounded a little weird. But it's not shocking. He's been with them for 20 years. We won 6 rings, and I guess he's just tired of the same locker room over and over again.
Yeah. So do you think that Tampa can win another championship?
Maybe not right away.
Yeah.
Maybe not right away.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just settle in with Tom Brady, and then after a couple years, get up there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, where do you think the New England Patriots will go after this?
I don't think that they might make it to the first round, maybe second, but they're not going to get it all the way up to the Super Bowl like they have like pretty much every year. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well they do and what Brady does without them.
So do you think they'll go out and draft another quarterback, or do you think in this year's draft they'll just draft another position and try to figure out how to get their quarterback there, or like try to figure out how to get another quarterback that may be trading or something?
I think that the Patriots, being the Patriots, they'll definitely try to trade for. They won't draft. They'll try to trade for a better quarterback, and yeah. I don't know who that would be because it's hard to top Brady, but yeah.
Yeah. There's been some trade rumors that have come out, like him or the Jacoby Brissett getting sent to the Patriots or something like that, or them drafting Jake Fromm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely.
So, what do you think about Patrick Mahomes and his chances of repeating in the coming year?
What do you mean repeating?
Like winning the Super Bowl again.
Oh, I don't know. Every team it seems gets a little cocky after the Super Bowl, and then maybe not this year, but maybe the year after, and so yeah. And again, with the virus and everything, you don't know how well these players are going to play coming back after just such a long break without practicing and stuff. So yeah, it'll be something different than what we're used to.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So, what do you think about the new CBA?
What's the CBA?
The collective bargaining agreement with the 17 games and the extra playoff team. Yeah.
Well, you could have just said that. Confused me with these acronyms. Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely gonna. I don't know how the players will feel about it. They might have mixed feelings, not as much time to rest and stuff. But I think it's great. More football, more games, more time to watch. Better chance of getting into the Super Bowl playoffs. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. So, something else I'd like to ask you about is, the Browns, of course, their situation of them not being great, and then,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
them kind of picking it up in recent years. Do you think they can turn it around this year and, really make a move and do something in the playoffs, or
Um.
what do you think?
No. No. They might come close to getting the playoffs, but probably it comes down to like their last game, and then they
Yep.
don't do well, and I just don't think the Browns right now at least have a chance of getting to the playoffs. Just well, you don't know how well the NFL is going to come back from this long break, and the difference, it might be drastic, it might not, and so I don't think the Browns will be a team that comes back the way they left.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think they might have to have some extra practicing before
Yeah.
coming back.
Uh-huh. So, I'd like to also ask you, so you know Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens, correct?
Yes.
Do you think he can repeat what he did this year, or what do you think will happen?
Um, I don't. I don't know. It's just the coronavirus. It's just
Hmm.
everything, and it's causing the players to quarantine, and well, it's really unpredictable.
Yeah.
But I kind of do see him uh, repeating and doing well, and so.
Hmm. I think it'll be interesting to see. But you know, he was a player going into the playoffs that I thought would do really good.
Mhm.
But I don't. Maybe the team around him wasn't as good, but
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I see him doing well, and then maybe I'm hoping for him that his team picks it up.
Yes, yes. So, you know, about so what do you think will be, the future plans for um the NBA right now? Like, how do you think the season will come back? Do you think they'll come back and just act like nothing happened and like start up regular season, or do you think they'll go right into the playoffs or something like that?
I think they'll have a couple games and then go right in the playoffs,
Yeah.
just to make sure the players are back and
Hmm.
are loose and ready to play again. And so hopefully it's going to be interesting. The
Yeah.
playoffs are going to be interesting to watch, and just hopefully the same as they normally have been, if not better.
Hmm. Hmm. I think it'll be interesting, to see like Adam Silver has wanted to test out the playoff where there's like the 9 and 10 seed, or the what would it be 7 and 10 seed would play, and the 8 and 9 seed would play, just to see who would make it in. And I think that'd be an interesting way to do it, to like give the teams that are like kind of in the race for the playoff, in like the playoff hunt, give them a chance to be in the playoffs. And I think it'd be an interesting like time to test it. So that'd be
Yeah,
interesting to me. So yeah. And
yeah,
do you
and
think?
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. Do you think you know if it is successful when they come back and they have a lot of viewers, do you think they'll shift it to where like it overlaps with baseball more than football, like this
I
season?
I don't know, because I know you said in your last podcast, baseball doesn't have as big of a fan group, but I feel like going to a baseball game is more of like a family thing,
Hmm.
where families enjoy going to the game together and stuff. And football is more of a, like, you go with the boys, or
Yeah.
the big friend group, like maybe a group of families, not just your family, and
Hmm.
cooking out in the parking lot. So it may be interesting. Maybe it'd be fun to see people hopping from um, game to game. That'd be fun to watch. Uh, but yeah, it'd
Yeah,
be
I
it'd
think
be
it.
it'd be it'd be cool to see them play at the same time as baseball.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting because like baseball does have less viewership, especially at the beginning of the season. And I think that's when they would, you know, that's when the NBA would be really competing with them because it's such a long season in the MLB that I think if it overlaps a bit, maybe it won't be that bad, but we'll see.
Hmm.
I think football is just such a powerhouse that nobody wants to compete with it.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Football is an American sport.
Yeah, it is the American sport. So yeah. So right now, if they wait or if they hold out the season for a long time, could you see Kyrie and Kevin Durant coming back to join the Nets and make a playoff run?
um, it depends how long, but I'm sure that they both are eager to get back and play as soon as possible. And I feel that Kyrie is more of a player that might jump in a little earlier than he has to and get injured again. And that's just what I think of him. He just seems he hasn't stayed with one team for a while. But yeah, I definitely think that if it lasts long enough, they can definitely come back. They'll definitely find ways to practice, maybe not with the full team, but to practice to get back with their ball handling and shooting and stuff. So
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to ask you. So, if you were, say, a GM of a team or something, would you want to, or would you be willing to sign Kyrie with his locker room issues?
no, just he's a good player, and I don't like when we had Deshaun Jackson on the Eagles.
Yeah.
Same
We
thing.
still
Like
have
I
him.
know he's back, but they got rid of him because he wasn't a team player.
Hmm.
And I think that's really important for every player on the team to be a team player and to not be full of himself and to respect everyone in the locker room. And Kyrie just doesn't do that, and so I wouldn't have
Yeah.
him on my team.
I just think he grew up, or he found his place in the league when he was with LeBron, and I think he got a
Hmm.
lot of his habits from LeBron. And I'm not saying it's bad on LeBron because, of course, he has the power to do this, where not everybody in the league has the power to be like, oh, I'm gonna force a trade or something. And Kyrie, I think, thinks he has that power.
Hmm.
He thinks he's that good, but I don't really think he's good enough to be like, oh, I'm going to go to you before I make this trade and get your approval. I just think Kyrie has learned all that from LeBron, and I don't think it was
Hmm.
the right way for him to learn it.
He was second to LeBron
Hmm.
for a while, and they both went different ways, and he thought he could take that somewhere else.
Yeah, that's why I just he thinks he is LeBron or like LeBron and can
Hmm.
do what he wants to, but I don't think he can. And it'll be interesting to see if it doesn't pan out in Brooklyn either this year or probably next year. Say they do bad or something. It'd be interesting to see if they try to move on from him, and I'd like to see what the market is for him because I don't see
Yeah,
many teams wanting to trade.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then I'd also like to ask you, between the two LA teams as constructed right now, which do you think is the best?
Lakers.
Lakers? Yeah,
They
can
have
you
they
expand
have
on that a bit?
LeBron. They have LeBron, and they can't really like they have LeBron. There were two teams, and the one team has LeBron. You can't.
Yeah, but okay, the Clippers are deep and have two very good stars that are both two-way freaks. They're very good on defense and offense. And I just I feel like we don't know that much about how Anthony Davis will play in the playoffs because he hasn't played much in the playoffs. I'm unsure how good he will be in in the playoffs. So for me to say the Lakers will beat them, I can't say that yet. I still think the Clippers are a better constructed roster, but I don't know how Anthony Davis is going to play, and I also don't know if he's going to stay healthy in the playoffs. He's kind of off and on with injuries. So.
A totally different person when it comes to playoffs. Like you see him, like he gets more upset when his teammates like make a bad pass or something, and he's kind of less forgiving on them, and he has more of a like I'm gonna kill you attitude towards the other team than throughout the rest of the season.
My thing accidentally cut out a bit. I didn't hear part of that. Which player are you talking about there?
LeBron.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So, yeah, I think he does have that attitude. It'll be interesting to see because, okay, the big teller for me was that Brooklyn Nets game they played, and he was driving to the basket, and like everybody claps on him because he's good at finishing, and he passes it out to Anthony Davis, and I was like, Anthony Davis should not be your shooter. Like he shouldn't be your spot up shooter for the game winning shot. In my opinion, you have Danny Green on that roster. They have a couple other players that can make buckets. It's like I would not go to him personally from the 3-point range. Like I get he's a good shooter, but he's not your specialist. He's not your guy that like when you need a 3-pointer, you give it to him. So
yeah, sure.
That was my opinion on the roster, and like I don't know. I thought it would be interesting, but
very interesting. Yes.
So yeah. So I'm also going to ask you about the Sixers. What do you think about the Sixers, and how can they improve, in your opinion?
So they can always improve. Again, I don't know how well they will come back from this break, and like a couple, I think 2 years ago, we had a pretty good team. We looked good. We could have taken it all the way, but we ended up not, and we lost a couple players, and now we're only down to like 2 good players, and I don't know if we'll make the playoffs this year. Well, no. I think we'll make it.
I think definitely the 76ers will make it.
Yeah, when I say not make it, I mean not make it
far into the playoffs.
As far. But yeah, it's a different team than it was a couple years ago. Not as exciting. But like you watch a game, and when you go to watch it, you expect there to be all that excitement, but then they're just you realize that it's not there anymore, and it's
yeah. I can see that to a sense. Like when I watch Sixers games, it depends on where they're playing. If they're at home, I can see that energy. I can see that fire in them. But when they're away, it's like they just lost something. I think
they're just another team.
And Max Kellerman has brought this up on First Take a lot, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. Is they haven't load managed properly with Joel Embiid, and they haven't given him a plan, and they haven't been like, okay, we're gonna rest you to prevent this injury, or if you have a nagging injury, we're gonna just rest you a couple nights. I think he wants to play so much, and he wants to prove himself, but also the Sixers haven't set up a plan for him that he can just take a rest. And so, like, I think he kind of load manages and doesn't play as hard when he's away. And that's just my opinion, but I don't know. So I'll ask you, what do you think, or what did you think when they signed Tobias Harris and Al Horford?
I don't know. It's different than like I didn't expect them to do that. It was very. I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought, but it was just something I thought about for a second, and just like, oh, okay, and then it kind of went away.
I think it was an awful decision to sign Al Horford to that long-term deal. I think a 1-year deal with him or 2 years maybe would have been fine, but a 4-year, like $100 million deal is a little much in my opinion. And Tobias Harris is not a max contract player in my opinion. So I think that was a terrible decision by them. And, I think like, have you seen what Jimmy Butler said about like the Philadelphia locker room and stuff like that?
No, what do you say?
So on the JJ Redick podcast, he was talking about how, when he went in there, it was like his first couple weeks there, and he said that they were in a film set or a film room with about 5 guys, and you could hear the clicking of the clicker to move on to the next slide, because there was no one talking about the film room, and or no one talking during the film. So they would watch film, and instead of giving like criteria and like, oh, we could have done this better, it was just silence because no one wanted to talk. And I think that's a problem for them, because I think they need to communicate better as a team, and I think that's a big issue for them.
Yeah, communication is key.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so we've talked about this a bit, but so you think that they should go out and try to get Jay Wright, correct?
Yes, I do.
What do you think he'd bring to the team?
Definitely new energy, because he's with Villanova now, and that's just he maybe not like the past couple years, but definitely a few years ago, he was taking Villanova pretty far,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing well, and it's just he's basically seen as an NBA coach, another NBA coach also from Philadelphia, and I just think that he would fit perfectly with the Sixers.
Yeah,
He would seem like he fits with the team.
Mm-hmm. I think they need, first of all, something just fresh to add to the team, because I think that like no one wants to come there right now and stuff like that, and they need a little shake up of the roster and shake up of the coaching staff, in my opinion. So I think that would be the first thing. But I do like what you said about like how he's done a very good job with Villanova, and like a lot of people like him as the coach in Philly. And you've talked about that he like kind of seems like an NBA coach already. I agree with those points. Those are some good points. Yeah. So yeah. So the last question I had is the NFL, and the Eagles. I wanted to save this for last because I think both of us very enjoy watching the Eagles. What do you think is the big key thing for the Eagles to do in the coming year?
Win.
How do you think? What can help them win?
They definitely need to practice harder than they have the past couple of years, just because they're still stuck on that Super Bowl. They just can't get that out of their heads that they won a Super Bowl, and they're just still on that high of, we won a Super Bowl, we can do it, we can do whatever we want, but they can't, and so they need to get that out of their heads, and they need to practice more and just bring it all to the season.
I agree with that. Yeah, because in my opinion, there's kind of been like that like Super Bowl hangover. Like people talk about it in a lot of sports, and I think we've seen that a lot. And honestly, I hate to blame this, but I think part of it is Carson Wentz's contract, and like we have less money to spend on other positions. So that's my opinion. And I don't think, I think we needed to sign him on it because I don't think he would have stayed otherwise. But I think he's overpaid.
Yeah, definitely. Because they knew he gets injured easily, and he's gotten injured every year so far. And it's just everyone was so excited about him. What they call it, Pennsylvania. Everyone was so excited about Pennsylvania and him coming to Philly and stuff. And he did well in the beginning, got hurt, came back next season, didn't do well, got hurt again, and it's unpredictable about how.
I agree with that, because like I think for the Eagles, it's been like you really need a good backup quarterback to help because like I don't know. That's the thing. And then I think we need to upgrade our secondary that was really awful last year with, just I think that would be a big key to what we need to fix. But that's my opinion. So yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Liam?
This is a video games podcast too, right?
Yes.
And I don't play video games.
Yeah. Well.
So,
yeah, that's fine.
Do you have any video games to suggest? Maybe mobile, because I don't have any console.
You could try COD Mobile. That's not bad. It's a fun game. Trying to think what else there is. I don't know. There's not much on the mobile space that I can think of. But yeah, I play COD Mobile sometimes. It's Call of Duty on your phone.
So I'll try it out.
yeah. Maybe we'll talk about it next time.
Maybe next time.
So I'd like to shout out Liam's Instagram. I'll put it down in the description. Liam, would you like to shout out any of your stuff?
My stuff? Sure. I'd like to shout out my friend. He actually started this podcast, Matthew Hendrickson's podcast, and it's really good. So you guys should take a listen. And he also posts videos on YouTube, so check that out.
Yeah. All right, Liam. Well, thank you very much for being on. Awesome to talk to you. All right. See you guys in the next podcast. Goodbye.